Listen, what about what you did? What about who you were? Listen, if they really knew, your giant is trying to intimidate you. Some of you say the giant comes to you and says, you're too old. Your season, you missed it. You missed your season. You're too old. Man, cracks me up. Sometimes I can identify this. So I'm talking to 30-year-olds like, I'm just too old. I'm like, you're 30. For the love, man, come on. I just missed my season. Listen, here's the thing I know about the giants in your life. They will tell you you are too young until they can tell you you are too old. You're too young. You're too young. Nobody going to listen to you. Nobody going to respond to you. Nobody. Listen. There will always be a giant. Come on, anybody got a giant in your life? Or am I talking to myself right now?
Yeah.
AW. That's fantastic. Rest of y'all are too intimidated by your giant to raise your hand. You got a giant. For some of you, it's fear. It's fear of your family, fear of the future. Tells you you're going to lose your kids. I'm going to take your kids. I'm going to take your marriage. I took your parents' marriage. I'm going to take your marriage. Are you hearing me? For some, see, he is ruthless. He does not play fair. He does not, listen, he will cut to the very issue of your heart and attack it, because that's what giants do. When Goliath stood on the field and defied the armies of the living God, he was coming at them with pure intimidation. For 40 days, the Bible says, which 40, by the way, is the number of testing. They were being tested by this giant, calling out to them, defiling God, challenging them.
Yeah.
Listen, the greatest strategy, you need to hear this, the greatest strategy of the enemy against you is intimidation. I'm just going to go ahead and expose you today.
Dare bring that up.
I just want you to know. See, you think this fear you have is you. It's not you. It's the giant.
Yes, you know what?
Who keeps screaming at you? Who keeps yelling at you? Who keeps telling you you can't do it? Who keeps telling you God doesn't care? Who keeps telling you God's not real? Because He doesn't want you to ever understand what is available to you as an anointed servant of God. He doesn't want you to walk in the freedom, doesn't want you to walk in the relationship with God that God has for you. So he intimidates. He's a liar. He intimidates. He tells you you can't. He tells you. And here's what David says. This is what I love about David. David responds to this giant. He goes to Saul and says, hey, give me a shot. Give me a shot to step out there. And they begin to, in Samuel chapter 17, you can read it yourself later, but they begin to describe the giant Goliath. I'm going to talk about your giant for a little bit, because everybody's got one. I don't care how spiritual you are. You got a giant. You got a fear. You got an anxiety. You got a physical. Are you hearing me? I got giants. I got a few of them. And here's the beauty of Promotion Sunday. It's the Sunday that giants fall. It can't possibly be that easy, Pastor. Yeah, it is that easy when you understand covenant relationship with Jesus and what He provides as it relates to the giant who's intimidating you. The writers of Hebrew, the writers of 1 Samuel 17, Hebrew writers begin to write the scriptures. And when they wrote them, many times it's important, they would write word pictures into what they were writing. So not only were you getting a sense of what was happening, but you're getting a picture. You're kind of drawing a poetic picture of it. It's the way they wrote it. And the challenge is when it's all translated to English, it doesn't necessarily carry the same what was intended initially. It doesn't mean it's not there. It just means that it kind of loses something in translation. And one of the things you see, if you've ever read the description of Goliath, you'll see that it says that he has this coat of armor. In modern translations, he has a coat of armor that weighs 125 pounds or so. He has the spearhead on his beam, the weaver's beam. It was this big, a huge spear, huge rod with a 15-pound weight on the head of it. So we're talking like he was going to throw a 15-pound plus the stick javelin. And we're talking a big dude. The Bible describes him as being 9 to 12 foot tall. Don't know for sure. But he was a tall dude. He was taller than he was a giant by their consideration. What you lose in the translation is this. As you begin to kind of dig into it, you'll find that the way that the writers wrote was that each of those measurements carried with it a significant number, and the number was 6. When they talked about his height, it was measured in the 6. When they talked about the hundreds of pounds of his armor, it was measured into 600. When they talked about the double digits, it was measured into 6. And so what happens, you put them all together, is it gives you the number 666. Under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, what they are writing to us, I'm not trying to ooh. No, I'm not trying to freak you out. What I want you to
That's okay. It's almost Halloween. You're allowed.
Goliath is the Antichrist spirit.
Right.
Now watch this. When they describe his armor, they don't say he's got a lot of armor. They say he is as one as with scales. Now we understand how armor can look like scales as you think of coat of mail and things of that nature. But they're describing this one as scales. What they are describing, think about what has scales. If I'm trying to create a picture for you, what I'm creating as a picture is this is a representation of the enemy against God, against Satan against God. And they were very aware of this. They were very aware of the writing style. So they knew, this is the devil versus God. This is Satan, Lucifer versus God. This is what this is. Now, here's where it goes even a step further. Because now when you understand that this picture, what I believe is the inspiration, why it's relevant to us today, because we fight the same battles. You need to understand the giant you're fighting is an antichrist spirit who's trying to keep you from God, who's trying to keep you from God's destiny in your life.
That's right.
And so what does he do? He intimidates, he yells, he screams. But look what he says specifically. He says this, Goliath stood and shouted across to the Israelites, "Why are you all coming out to fight? I'm a Philistine champion," so important, "but you're only the servants of Saul." Now watch this. The first thing is he misunderstood something. They weren't the servants of Saul, they were the servants of God. They were the children of God. But the enemy will never refer to God in your situation because he doesn't want you to bring God into your situation because he understands when you bring God into your situation, my help, the Bible says, comes from the Lord. Are you hearing me? So he's going to try to make your situation just about man and just about physics. Oh, you're just under a lead. No. I'm a child of God. These are the armies of God. But the enemy's never going to say that. Look what he says. He says, "Choose one man to come down here and fight me. If he kills me, then we'll be your slaves." Lie. Listen, he thinks about giants too. They never tell the truth. Giants are liars by nature. Just like when God said of Satan, he says, your father, he is the father of lies. You could just trust that anything coming out of the enemy's mouth is a lie. Is a perverted truth. At very least, it is a lie. Are you with me?
Amen.
So he says, but if you kill him, why do I say it's a lie? Because think what happened. They killed Goliath. David kills Goliath. I hate to spoil the ending. They killed Goliath. And what happened? You guys won, so we're just going to be, what did they do? No, they didn't. They ran away to fight another day. He says, but if I kill him, you will be our slaves. That's what the enemy wants to do. He wants to bring you to slavery. He says, I defy, this is so important, the armies of Israel today, I defy you. Send me out a man. We'll fight. Now let me ask you something. Okay, we'll wrap this up.
Someone worthy.
Why didn't God just kill Goliath? Why didn't God just kill your giant?
He wants you to learn.
Haven't you asked it? God, take this away. God, would you please do something? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm getting through.
To stand up and defend yourself.
But could you help me? Would you change this situation, God? Come on, anybody with me? 40 days and nights go by. Why didn't God just say, I'm tired of this big mountain?
To humble.
Why didn't he do it? Why didn't he kill your giant? Is he not powerful enough? No, I'm asking you to think, not to answer me, to answer, do you believe God's powerful enough?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Do you think he cares? See, this is what
yes.
God doesn't care about you. God doesn't care about your situation. You got yourself in this situation. God says you need to get yourself out of this. That's not what God says. He's a liar. God's not going to help you. God helps those who help themselves. First book of Crazy, verse 1.
Amen.
By the way, I say that. That's not the Bible.
Amen.
God helps those who help themselves. Really?
Tried it. Doesn't work.
I think sometimes the enemy thinks he can make it sound biblical, because of our lack of biblical education and development, we just believe it.
Right.
The Bible never says God helps those who help themselves. Matter of fact, that's completely contrary to his message. When I was in my very worst, when I could not help myself, that's when Jesus died for me. When I was the biggest mess, the biggest rat, the biggest twisted, messed up, defiant, immoral person on the planet.
I like this
that's the
pastor,
moment that Jesus
Pastor
showed up
Rowan,
and helped me.
guys, at Victory Worship.
So why didn't he kill your time? And here's why. It goes. Put that verse back up there. It goes back to this verse. Send me on a man. What you have to understand, I'm going to unpack this really quick. Because this is a picture of the fight between God and evil. And it's not an equal fight, by the way. It's never an equal fight. So why does it seem like the enemy is winning? Why does it seem like the giants win, Pastor? Why does it seem like I'm still fighting the same thing I've been fighting and I can't get free of it? And I'm still voices in my head, the struggle that I have, the fear in my heart, the anxiety, the worry, the stress. Why is I love God, I serve God, why is it still here? Why doesn't God deal with me? And here's the thing, the devil understands this better than the church does. What did Goliath say? I am the Philistine champion. What he's saying is this, I am the covenant representative of the Philistines. Now you have to understand something about covenant, which is a biblical concept. Covenant is not contract, covenant is agreement. It is a spiritual agreement. And this spiritual agreement, Goliath says this, I am the representative, a covenant representative of the Philistines. What I need from the children of Israel is a covenant representative from Israel. I need somebody who will come out. I need a man. I need something. See, here's the reason. I'll tell you why God didn't kill Goliath. Because God understands. He says this. Here's what God does. He says, I want to move on your behalf, but I need a man. I need somebody who will step into a position of partnership and agreement. I need somebody who will surrender their will to my will. I need somebody who will submit themselves. I need a man. I need a woman who's willing to become my covenant representative here on earth. I need somebody who's willing to bring the kingdom wherever they are. Why doesn't God just change the nation? Why doesn't God just change the world? Because he's looking for a man who would stand in the gap, who would be a covenant representative, who will say, God, here I am, faithful and obedient. Use me, God, however you can. If it's to kill a giant, I'll kill a giant. God, whatever you want. If you want me to serve in a sheepfold, I'll serve in a sheepfold. God, if you want me to play to a demonic king, I'll play to a demonic king. God, I belong to you. I'm the covenant representative. The enemy understands this better than we do. Because we pray prayers like, God, why don't you do something? God's like, why don't you do something?
Shit.
Why don't you do something I can bless? Why don't you do something I can anoint?
Right.
Why don't you give me something to work with?
Yes.
For 40 days and 40 nights, Israel stood there and nobody was scared. Can I tell you what I really believe was happening? I believe Goliath demonically inspired. We're standing on this battlefield. I don't think he was taunting the Israelites, truthfully. I think he was taunting God. I think what he was saying was this: God, there's not a man who believes you enough. There's not anybody in your whole chosen nation who believes you enough to step on this field. There's not
He
a man.
was wrong.
He keeps crying 40 days and 40 nights, 80
He was
times.
wrong.
Give me a man. God, there's not even a man. Every time it was a defilement to God. There's not even a man who believes you. I gotta just ask this question: is there anybody in this place that believes God?
Amen.
For some of you, you've never thought about believing in God to intervene in that situation. But today, you need to understand, the reason it may have not gone away is simply this: that God hasn't addressed it. It's because he's waiting for you to step into the position of covenant representative and say, okay, God, what is it you want me to do? What is it you want me to say? What do you need me to pray, God? What do you need me to believe? What do you need me to release in faith, God? What do you need me to give? What do you want me to go? Where do you want me to go, God? I need a man. I need a woman. That thing I love about God, 40 days goes by. Big mouth Goliath running his mouth, intimidating all of Israel, scared and hiding, just hanging. See, they all dressed up like an army.